All right, today we're diving into something truly profound, a core belief in Islam, the Day of Judgment, also known as Qayamat. It's that day when the world as we know it comes to an end and our ultimate accountability kicks in. So, what we're going to do is walk through the entire sequence of events, step by step, on this final, monumental day. So, the first question on everyone's mind is always, so when's it going to happen? And the thing is, the exact timing is a secret known only to God. But, and this is the incredible part, the sequence of events, that's laid out in amazing detail. And that's the journey we're on today, piecing together that timeline from the very beginning to the absolute end.
Okay, so here's our roadmap. We're going to look at 5 key stages. First, the end of all things. Then, the Great Assembly. After that, the Day of Reckoning, followed by the final passage, and wrapping up with the eternal destination. Let's get into it.
All right, let's jump right in. Now, the start of this final day, it's not some slow fade to black. Nope. It's triggered by a single catastrophic event, an event that's meant to literally tear apart the very fabric of the universe.
It all kicks off with the sounding of a great trumpet by the Angel Israfil. And what's really interesting is that it's not just one blast, it's 2. The first one, total annihilation. That's for the complete and utter end of everything. And the second blast, which comes a while later, is for resurrection, bringing every single soul back to life. And this scale of destruction that follows that first blast, wow, it's just staggering. The entire cosmos is literally taken apart. The sky gets ripped open, stars just fall, mountains crumble into dust, and the seas actually boil over. Everything, and I mean everything we know, just stops existing. Okay, so from that point of total, complete annihilation, we shift gears to the second trumpet blast. And this marks the beginning of the great gathering of every single human being who has ever walked the earth. So after some period of time, we don't know how long, that second trumpet finally sounds. And this is the moment. The resurrection. Every person, from the very first to the very last, is brought back to life, rising up from where they were buried. So then everyone is gathered together on this huge, vast plain. And the conditions, they're described as being just incredibly intense. People are standing just as they were born, completely unadorned. And get this, the sun is brought impossibly close to everyone's heads. It's said that people will be practically drowning in their own sweat. And the level of it, well, that depends entirely on the deeds they did in their life. And the length of this day, it's just mind-boggling. For those who have a lot to answer for, this one single day is said to feel like 500,000 years. Can you even imagine that? That level of intense waiting and anxiety, and the judgment hasn't even started yet. Okay, so you've got all of humanity gathered and waiting in this intense state. So, how does it all kick off? How does the judgment, the great accounting, actually begin? Well, the waiting becomes so unbearable that people actually start begging the prophets to ask God to just start the judgment already. And after other prophets decline, it's the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who performs what's known as the Great Intercession. And it's only then that the accounting of our lives finally gets underway. And this leads to the first huge moment of truth. Every single person is given a book, a complete record of everything they've ever done. And here's the fork in the road. If you get it in your right hand, it means joy and easy accounting. But if it's given to you in your left hand, that means despair and total ruin. So what are the big questions? What will we actually be asked? Well, the source points to some really fundamental things. It's not just about what you did, but the why behind it. Things like, how did you spend the life you were given? Where did you get your wealth from? And just as important, what did you spend it on? These are the core questions everyone will face. So, after the books have been handed out and the big questions have been answered, you might think it's over, but it's not. There's one last physical test that every single soul has to get through. This is the Sirat. It's a bridge that everyone has to cross, and it's hanging right over the fires of hell. And just think about this description for a second. Thinner than a hair, sharper than a sword. I mean, that really paints a picture of just how impossible it would be to cross this thing on your own. And how well you cross it? Well, that's tied directly to your deeds and your faith. The believers, they're said to cross it with incredible speed, some as fast as a flash of lightning. But the sinners, the disbelievers, they won't be able to stay on. They'll lose their footing and fall right into the fire below. And so that final journey, that crossing of the bridge, it leads directly to one of two places, two eternal homes. There's no third option. On one side, you have paradise, Jannah, waiting for the believers. Their faces are described as just shining with pure joy. And on the other side, hell, Jahannam, for the disbelievers, their faces covered in sadness and regret. And the key here is that both of these places are forever. They are eternal.
But here's something that's really important to remember. Despite all these terrifying events, one principle stands out above all else: absolute, perfect justice. It's said that no one will be wronged by even an atom's weight, not the tiniest bit of unfairness. This day is really seen as the ultimate display of God's perfect justice, but also His mercy. So after hearing all of this, what's the big takeaway? The source material isn't just a story. It ends with a really clear, really urgent call to action. Because this day is going to come out of nowhere, the message is simple. You have to prepare for it now, like today.
And so, after walking through this entire journey, all the way from that first trumpet blast to the final destination,